We have breaking news here the day before the NBA draft. According to our Charania, Boston, Atlanta, and Brooklyn, they're finalizing a 3-team trade. It sends Kristaps Porzingis and a second-round pick to the Hawks, Terrence Mann and Atlanta's 22 pick to the Nets, and George Niang and a second-rounder to the Boston Celtics. Of course, Kristaps Porzingis being traded away, a key piece of this championship team, is the headline of this, Bobby Marks. Can you just distill this down to what exactly is Boston, essentially a year removed from a championship, trying to do here?
Remember, they were projected to have a $500 million payroll going into this offseason. That is basically sliced in half. They save $180 million. They go under the second apron. It is basically a reset of the roster. Now, the big question is going to be, what happens with Jaylen Brown, right? He is the last. Him and Derek White are the two core players that are still there. Drew Holiday out, Kristaps Porzingis out. What does it mean to the future of Jaylen Brown moving forward?
It feels like there's a clear delineation in the Eastern Conference right now. You have the Milwaukee Bucks hampered with injuries. You have the Indiana Pacers hampered with injuries to their star players, the Boston Celtics, and now there are other teams, the Cleveland Cavaliers, for instance, the Orlando Magic, who are trying to make those moves to be a win now in the Eastern Conference team. Even Drew Holiday being traded away from the Boston Celtics. In the West, however, Shams, it is a arms race. The Houston Rockets, already the number 2 team this past season, acquire Kevin Durant here. What do you think is the most important thing to know 2 days later?
Malika, the Rockets believe this is the right fit at the right time. This is a clear win-now move for this team. I was talking to someone around the Rockets today, and it's about the fact that in the playoffs now, they know they have a go-to number 1 option on any given night, any given moment of the game. And listen, at the end of the day, the Rockets were the most aggressive at the end to get a deal done. They had the best offer to get a deal done. When you think about a 23-year-old scorer in Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, two-way player, and then that number 10 overall pick, a very valuable one in this draft, a deep draft. The market had just become limited for Kevin Durant for a couple of reasons. One, there are only a couple teams that were ready with multiple salaried players that they would be allowed to send and still remain a championship contending type team, which Houston feels it is. They still have a lot of their core players that they feel will help them. And the other point, Kevin Durant turns 37 years old in September. He's on an expiring contract, $57 million, and so that gave him an amount of leverage in terms of his future as well.
Perk, I know you like the fact that the Houston Rockets didn't have to give up a ton in order to get Kevin Durant, but do you think, I mean, the standard is set by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Does this put Houston in the same stratosphere?
Absolutely it does, and make no mistake about it, Kevin Durant is not a Rocket if Ime Udoka is not the coach. Right, it's about the respect that he have for Ime Udoka, along with a good friend of his, the assistant coach Royal Ivy as well. But when you think about what they gave up, they didn't give up much, right? They was able to keep Amen Thompson, who I believe in the next 2 or 3 years could possibly be the best two-way player in the game, right? You were able to keep Baby Jokic and Şengün. We saw the leap that he took this season, right? And then you throw in Tari Eason and also Cam Whitmore. In our league, where the most important position is the wing position. We just saw it in the NBA Finals. You need defensive stoppers. So you figure out the thing what's going on with Fred VanVleet, get him back under contract. You got big Steven Adams down there banging down low, offensive rebound and setting hard screens. And now all of a sudden you got your closer and you address another problem which they had this season, one of the worst three-point shooting teams. You bring in KD, who's efficient from the three-point line.
It feels like down the stretch of those playoff games against the Golden State Warriors, they didn't have a go-to guy to get them a bucket. Now they certainly do in Kevin Durant. On the Phoenix side of this, they get back into the draft. That was incredibly important for this Phoenix Suns team, but it feels like if they want to continue to retool around Devin Booker, they can't be done.
No, they can't be done. I think we're going to keep an eye on what happens with Bradley Beal. He's owed $110 million over the next 2 years. Is there a pathway to get off that money, or at least part of that money here? Because you added Jalen Green, you added Dylan Brooks, you are basically the under 6'7" club. I think there's a priority for one of them to get a center. Remember, this is an ownership group that said we are not rebuilding this roster. We are going to retool this roster here. So Phoenix at 10 is going to be interesting. At 29 also, 2 picks in the second round.
Well, Bobby, don't Bill have to say yes?
He sure does.
No trade, right?
He sure does. I mean, they can waive him outright, but not without taking a buyout there.
Is that a real possibility?
He has to. You don't take a buyout unless you have a home. So what is the home going to be? Can he get a $14 million in the open market?
Right.
That's going to be a big ask there.
Well,
time.